Welcome to the Reawakening Ancient Feminine Wisdom in Pregnancy, Birth, and Motherhood Summit. I'm your host, Nancy Lucina, and today Sunni Karll will be joining us. Sunni was conceived in Copenhagen, born in Paris, and grew up in Maryland to parents in the American military. Her own difficult birth propelled her into the field of birth as her life's mission. From wondering where trauma in a child comes from, to researching hundreds of babies and their births, to re-experiencing her own birth trauma and helping others to do the same as a past life and birth therapist, and finally by becoming a home birth midwife in 1992, where she felt she could help most. She realized unseen beings were at each birth and was taught how vibration supports a baby's essence to firmly take root in the body, while maintaining a coherent connection to itself. She is also the author of Sacred Birthing, Birthing a New Humanity, as well as her upcoming book, Conceiving Souls of Magnificence. Today, Sunni and I discuss birthing in the highest vibration possible, the blueprint that babies receive at birth, how to have a lotus birth, and so much more. Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm so excited. We have with us Sunni Karll, who is the author of Sacred Birthing, Birthing a New Humanity. Welcome, Sunni. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I love being here. Thank you.
Oh, so much goodness to talk to you about today. I would love if we could start with, you talk, obviously, the name of your book is Sacred Birthing. I talk a lot about sacred birthing as well to the women I work with. For me, it's so important to help them create a meaningful birth experience and a sacred birth experience no matter what happens. So I'm wondering if you would like to share with us your favorite ways to help prepare women during pregnancy. What can they put in place if they're watching and they're pregnant right now to ensure that this event will be a sacred event? And maybe as well, if you want to talk a little bit about what does it mean to birth a new humanity, and like how can women
Too many.
Okay, let's back up and start with that first one, and then we'll go there.
Okay. To me, I think the most important thing is the mamas do their inner work, because nothing can come out right if we don't work at it. I mean, some births absolutely do come out, but who knows whether they worked at it this lifetime or a lifetime before. So the real thing that paves our way through birth is to do our inner work. Look at every single fear that pops up. Look at everything that makes us go, oh, don't talk about that. Look at it. And what we'll realize is that when we look at it and we talk about it, it will be like a balloon just going, it will deflate. It will not keep running us. The reason fears keep running our head is because we don't address it. As soon as we look at it, then it deflates, it's gone, and it doesn't fester. So that's the major thing. And sometimes it takes all of pregnancy. Most likely that's what we do. As consciousness rises, it'll take much less.
Yeah.
But right now, just keep looking. Is there anything else I wish I didn't think about? Is there anything else that I'm afraid of for the baby? Is there anything else I'm afraid of myself going through birth? All of these things, because we've been told many lies through our whole lifetime and through our parents' lifetime and grandparents' lifetime. So we are unraveling this convoluted mess.
Yeah.
Birth is not the way we've been taught by the media. Everything's scary, everything's an emergency, everything's big drama. No, it's not. It's huge, it's intense, it's powerful, it's all of that, but it's not what we've been taught as little girls and teenagers and every day on the media. So we have to let that all go, because it's all lodged within us. Every time a friend goes through a dramatic birth or a C-section, we go, oh, that happened to me. It's all lodged in here. And so one by one, these places in us are going to come out. And we can go, oh, better out than in. Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at each one. Look at each one. And do also, it's acknowledge your womb.
Yeah.
The womb is such a sacred, sacred place, and it has been defiled by patriarchy. It has been defiled by violence and sexual abuse and stories and being treated unequally and being treated in a patriarchal way. And men are treated in a patriarchal way too. They're not exempt from it just because it's patriarchy. It's the immature men that patriarchy is created out of, the ones who want to fight and be angry and all of that. So go back to your womb and just hold it. Most of us don't even know where our womb is. Our womb is right above that pubic bone, way, way, way down low. And if you put your fingertips on it, your palm is way above it. So put the side of your hand right on the top of your pubic bone, and then you're kind of cupping down low, cupping your womb, and just take an hour the first time, and it might take 10 times, to just acknowledge and tell your womb, you are so sorry. You are so sorry for all the known and unknown things that have happened to you. Every abortion, every miscarriage, every having sex when we don't want to, everything is held there, and all we offer it to our baby to come into a clean space, to come into a pristine space, and it's only our compassion that can create this clean space for us.
Yeah.
So take time to really, really center your attention in your womb and listen to it. After you've said your part, just take time to listen and see what it needs, see what it wants, see what it is welcoming. See if there are places where it is not welcoming. Go deeply into it. It might not take one time, or who knows what it'll take. But that's another area of and even while the baby's in there,
I was going to ask that.
Conception, but while the baby's in there, your womb is still full of what we wish it weren't.
Imprints. Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask you about that exact thing. So I love that you brought that up. I remember reading about that in your book years ago and feeling so impacted by all of that. And I've been working since that time with various ways of cleansing the womb and also like refilling the womb as well with what we want, right? Because once we release the guilt and the shame and the fear, then it's like, well, what do we want in there? Love, compassion, trust, safety. And for me, it's really this journey of sovereignty, of claiming, my body as my own on a continual basis, because I feel like it's so easy for women to give away their power from this womb space, especially when they're pregnant and there's so much advice coming at them from all these different ways. So yeah, that's a beautiful practice to start with.
Even routine sex is, it's a major energy. You want that? Or will you stand up to your partner and say, you know what? Let's not make love until we both are so full of love that we're just overflowing. That's what I want to put into my womb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Such a good point. Yeah. So going back to what I said at the beginning, birthing a new humanity, I would love if you could just talk, I know that's a huge topic, but could you talk a little bit about like what how could women cultivate that space of understanding that they are a part of birthing a new humanity? Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about the souls and how you perceive them to be these masters coming in, and how can women or parents together really begin to understand what their baby's deeper needs are for their birth experience?
Well, this is the whole book that I'm almost
Yeah,
finished.
yeah. I know.
Go there.
I ask some
Well,
difficult
maybe this
ones.
is what the interview. Oh, for a long time, as I said in Sacred Birthing, I've had this knowing, because this was what I was told in 96, that you will create a new kind of birth for the master souls coming. And for years, I just kind of put it on the back burner. What in the world's a master soul?
Uh-huh.
But then realized it's our eternal knowing, our eternal self. So it's not just Buddha and Jesus. It's all of us when we raise our consciousness to that level. Well, these babies are already there. They're not coming in from our lineages or any lineages on Earth. They're coming in from places that we don't even have a clue about. They're so far beyond our star system, and they're at such a high vibration that all we can do to connect with them is kind of feel like, whoa, that's a miracle, and yes, miracles are what we call things that we don't understand, and when they're a higher vibration. So these children have been preparing for eons of what they are here to do. Basically, they're all here to raise the level of consciousness of the Earth, of humanity. The Earth's doing fine. It's humanity that will allow the Earth to do even better.
Right.
So their level of consciousness is extraordinarily high. And so they also bring with them an expertise to help in some way with some problem that the Earth has, that humanity has. And so they are choosing parents for their high vibration, for their incredible love together, and that have the qualities that they each need. So the mom might have these qualities, the dad has these qualities, the baby needs them both, and the other siblings as well. They're all in this together, and they're in this together to kind of not be the kind of babies that, we have a baby and then we put it in daycare and then we go about our life. They're about having the baby, and then your life becomes the baby's expertise. Mm-hmm. And you're helping it, it's helping you, the siblings, the parents, everybody's helping each other to do this project that they can't come to do.
Right.
So it's a real big undertaking. It's not just, let's have a baby like this. It's really pondering those questions of, are we here to give our life to this? Are we here to give this the time, make the time, not only make the time, make this happen, together, because you have the parents have the experience, the life experience, and the soul has the ideas, and with telepathy and the spurring the creative juices in the parents, you guys are all going to be thinking 10 times faster. Understanding that, okay, this is the next step. That doesn't make sense logically, but this is what we need to do. So it'll be different, and it just feels magnificent.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming with all these huge questions for you. I apologize. But if you could explain a little bit about what a blueprint is for those watching who don't understand what that might mean. Like, what do you mean when you use the word blueprint, and how a soul receives a blueprint when they're born? If you could just give us a little bit about that. I know your book is like this thick for those of you who haven't read it, so you got to read it. But
So I think you're asking about the life scenario.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
okay, so the baby, okay, pretend you're a baby soul, and the your teacher is having you, your Isa is having you look down at your life and go, I would like this, and I would like this, and I would like this, and I would like this. Well, that's the ultimate.
Mm.
That it would be at the highest vibration.
Mm.
So the highest vibration of your birth would give you the absolute most supportive life, because you would be receiving relationships that really support you, families that are here to help you do whatever you need to do. This is exactly, it feeds into the souls of magnificence, those conceived, because those babies need exactly this. Mm-hmm. So they need the best. They need the highest. They need spiritual.
Sorry, there's someone walking behind me because
I know.
I'm in a working space.
They need everything that it takes to support their highest intention for coming into and being born. And then say there are 5 levels. So the middle 3 levels would be knocked down in vibration of birth. And the bottom level would be a birth of panic and fear. And so that would mean relationships were harder. You really had to struggle to grow, and we've all gone through those lifetimes. So it's something that, that doesn't exist. We've all done it. We've all done it many, many times. But now the souls are saying, I don't want to do those lives anymore. I want to do a higher life. And each of the middle 3 lifetimes are more and more supportive of what the child wishes to do. Their talents can be grown on. The qualities in their life would be more and more. So that becomes what the soul chooses, and the vibration of birth becomes the blueprint. And where does it start? It starts at the drama birth, or it starts at the highest birth, or 3 in between. That's a possibility. It's also made up of everything from before conception, all through pregnancy and the birth experience. So that's where we see that being in trust all the time, from before the baby's even conceived, being in trust and choosing the highest, and not going, oh well, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't cut it.
Right.
For the highest experience. It certainly cuts it for others. So that's kind of, the blueprint is rolled into one, and it's ignited by the vibration of birth.
Thank you. Beautiful. I would love if you could just describe to us a little bit about what you call these high vibration births, because you've been a part of so many. You've provided spaces for so many women. So for those watching who, may have never seen a birth like this, could you give us a little bit, some description around what elements are there? What do you need in place to create that? I know it's unique for each person, but
that's a big, beautiful topic that I never say ahead of time, because it really has to do with the parents and what they bring to their birth. So some parents, well, number one, it's the love of the parents. It's absolutely necessary. It's not like a luxury, it's a necessity. And so their love will concoct the birth in their own personal style, in their own unique way. It's really beautiful. And so, some end up singing, some end up toning, some end up having bowls at the birth.
That would be me. I play the crystal bowls.
Some want it outside, some want it quiet with nobody. it just depends, but it's their preparation to get rid of all those fears so that there's nothing lingering except I can now surrender totally into this happening for my baby's highest good. Because the mom doesn't control anything at the end. Her control is all through doing her very, very best. When labor starts, she has to let go. And that too is quite a challenge and a gift, for the mom to just finally say, okay, baby, you're on your own. I will do everything I can, but I surrender to you. You and the circle of wholeness, the Isa and the devas of creation, and the orbs will create this birth in the highest way. And because you put all your attention on creating your field of birth, in the best way possible, in the most trusting way, protecting, being a guardian to the baby from whatever is might encroach and be not so helpful. Whatever it is, you then have this trusting bubble around you, and that trusting bubble helps you give birth no matter where you are. If you go to a hospital, the bubble comes with you because you've created it the whole time. You're at home, it still stays around you and supports you and loves you and holds you. It's like a warm blanket around you.
Could you talk to us a little bit about interventions that happen at other kinds of births and how that can inhibit the soul's life path, particularly around pain medicine, what that might mean for the connection between mother and baby?
Okay, I missed the first part.
Oh, sorry. I was just asking about if you could speak a little bit about interventions and how that can hinder the soul's path, and also the connection between mother and baby, like what happens when the mother takes pain medicine and what happens to that connection.
Well, yeah, I feel that the epidural is the biggest hindrance possible. When the epidural is given to the mom, within not even 30 seconds, before 30 seconds, the baby goes limp. The baby feels totally disconnected from the mother, so that abandonment emotionally sets in. There's no more muscle tone in the baby, so the baby is no longer able to be pushed and guided through birth by the muscles of the mom and the uterus. It's just like baby turns into a blob, and yet a scared blob, because where's mom? Where's mom? Where's mom? And the baby can't find mom because the baby has so much of an overdose in its body, because the mom's the amount the mom gets is about according to weight, and the baby is about 15 times getting a greater overdose than the mom's weight, because the baby's 6, 7, 8 pounds. So it's difficult on the baby. It's difficult on the mom too. And it just seems like we need to let go of feeling guilty and really do our work in pregnancy so that we don't have this occur. It's almost like you do your inner work or you have an epidural if things get tough and if things get difficult because the baby's turned or the baby's this or that or the other. That all is about the mother's inner work. And so we work before in pregnancy, or we work at the time of labor. And believe me, it's much easier to work in pregnancy.
Exactly. That's what I always say too. Yeah.
Yeah. Long drawn out labors are no fun,
Mm.
and they can be fun, and they can be exquisite and empowering, and the most delicious thing possible that you will never forget all your life.
Yeah.
Why not do the work ahead of time?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this baby who looks up at you with the curiosity and the eye contact that doesn't end. Their ability to focus is so much greater than what we're used to, and they're just aware and pristine and beautiful, and they just have these delicious beings right then and there at the time of birth. Or you can have a groggy baby that tries so hard to keep its eyes open, but it can't because it's been drugged. It's that clear.
Yeah.
If you go into the hospital, you can see every baby that's had an epidural. Their energy is frozen. Their will, they're jumpy, they're uncoordinated, they're all of these things show, is just a reaction to the drugs. And the baby that's not drugged, alert, creative, curious. They'll watch whoever's in the room. They'll look at lights. They'll look at you in the eye. They listen to every single voice. It's magic. You know it. I know. It's really different. So we as mothers need to get over the feeling of guilt and take it a step up to responsibility. We really have to undo all the damage that has been done by media by reclaiming our birth. And we can only reclaim ours because somebody else next door is going to do what they need to do. But by starting to talk about let's do it without drugs, that's a huge start. And it's time. It's well past time. If we look back till the 50s, when spinals and caudals and the earliest forms of epidurals were given, well, when did the autism start and the ADHD? I mean, everything got worse then. It's a no-brainer. Open your eyes. Our babies are suffering. They're not what they should be. They're, get rid of the everything that isn't natural and go with it. A natural birth is so much gentler than an induced birth. Oh my goodness. A mother doesn't mind going through a natural birth, but put her into an induced birth, and it's, one mom said it's like a hurricane was inside of me. I couldn't get away from it. It was terrible. And she had 3 other babies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What do you say to those women who might be watching this, who are perhaps they've already had a baby and it went that way? It went that route, right?
Right.
They're going, oh my God, I had this kind of birth and now I'm dreaming of this other kind of birth. Is there any way that we could speak to our children even about like what happened to at their birth? Or
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At nighttime, you can go in after they're asleep, right after they're asleep. Go in and stand by their bed and close your eyes and just go, I am so sorry your birth went the way it did. Whatever the truth is about the birth, whatever you don't feel good about the birth, say it all. I hoped it would go this way, but it didn't. And, I don't know why, I don't understand it, but this is what happened. And I hope that, you can let all of it go from your body. Let it go from your cells, let it go from your liver, let it go from everywhere. I love you, and I love you, I love you. I want you to fill up with my love and let go of the difficult birth, and I will help you any way I can. Something like that. The child absolutely gets on the inner plane. They will wake up in the morning and be different. It's magic.
Wow.
It's so magical. And, you know, the fact that you acknowledge it is necessary, because all of this is running in the baby's body or the child's body. It's just like it can't find peace. It can't find peace. So it's just like ruminating. And as soon as you acknowledge it, then it's like, oh, the words match the feeling in my body. And it is let go of. It relaxes. And the whole muscle tone, everything is just like, oh, okay. You know, and this is a magical thing for parents, no matter what's going on. We also do it when the baby's sick, or if sickness is kind of a time when the baby is more in the etheric body and will hear and make use of that.
Oh,
when they're sick or when they're asleep, just asleep. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't think it matters even what age the child is. You can do this.
Well, the younger, it's just
the younger the better, right? Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're 2 or 3 or 5, if they're right. Once they go to sleep, I would do it. And for the older children, I might do it a few times, because more and more will come to your mind,
Yeah.
The other thing that's good to do is write out their birth. Everything that you remember about their birth can be written out and read to them at their birthday party or something like that, or the morning of their birthday. And don't eliminate the things that are tough for them, because it would be fine for them to see you cry.
Right.
It would be fine for them to cry. You will be amazed at what comes out of the child's mouth, if they're talking. But it's a magical way to address what still hurts in the baby's body and in your body, because we have to do it too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I
do it too.
Yeah, I gave birth about 10 years ago, and I had a planned home birth, and we ended up in the hospital, and it was a natural birth. And actually, in so many ways, so many other people would look at my birth and say, that was fabulous, But just that one change of environment for me, I mean, I had to work through that for honestly a couple of years.
Right.
Your book was instrumental in my healing of that as well. I took my doula training when my daughter was 2 years old, and I began to read your book. My doula teacher let me borrow it. And all this stuff came up, around womb imprints, and I realized, wow, I'm still actually healing from that birth. And there was a core lesson for me in that birth, and I think that with every difficult birth, there is a core lesson for the mother as well, that she has to. Do you find that to be true?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying about
you
have to work to the core and to get that, and just go for it in any way you can, with crayons, with massage, with going out and yelling your fears to a tree. It doesn't keep doing it, and don't stop and say, well, I've done enough.
Right.
That's what you'll hit when you get into labor.
Exactly. Totally. That's so true. Well, I'd love if you could talk to us about Lotus birth. First, describe what that is for anybody watching who's never heard of it, and what this beautiful ritual is about once the baby's born.
Well, Lotus birth is when the baby is born and the placenta is also born, and the cord is not cut. Usually the baby is born, then the cord is cut, and then they wait for the placenta to be born. But this way, the cord, the baby, and the umbilical, the cord and the baby and the placenta are all one unit, and it stays as one unit because it was one unit in the mom. The egg and the sperm created the placenta first, and the cord and the baby. So usually the cord in Canada and now in the US is cut within 15 seconds to 2 minutes. 2 minutes if you're really lucky.
Lucky, yeah, exactly.
What that means is that all the richest blood is made up of stem cells, and all this beautiful rich blood that is in the umbilical cord is the last blood to go into the baby, and it's all goes to the baby's brain. And so those stem cells create the necessary changes that are needed for the baby's brain after going through such a thing as birth. And so we want those stem cells. Yeah. Well, if the baby's cord is cut at birth, those stem cells go to the lab, and the lab will sell your baby's stem cells to the highest bidder. Whether it's skin cream or, to be injected into somebody's knee, doesn't matter. And they're valuable. Yeah. So we want them in our baby. We want them in our baby. So it's up to the parents to say, absolutely not. Please, you will not cut the baby's cord. And it's okay. We'll wait the 15 minutes that it takes to let the placenta come, and the placenta and the baby will carry on from here on out. So that's why it's easier to do it at birth, at a home birth. Yeah. You don't have anybody to talk into it. Right. But and then the best thing that I ever found was rosemary powder. You prepared very dried, very ground up rosemary, and you have about 3/4 of a quart jar. And don't collect it yourself because the rosemary bush is so full of oils it doesn't dry right. Okay. You really need it commercially dried. Okay, yeah. To then be able to dry the placenta. And you just sprinkle it all over the placenta, and the placenta needs to be, the placenta's used to being concave. Turn it convex. Okay. Then all the cotyledons open up, and there are all the spaces where you have to pour in the rosemary powder so that it can dry well. And then and the whole point to doing this is that there's an energetic pulsing that continues to feed the baby even after the placenta is born and no longer part of mom. It has a life too, and it is slowly dying, and it is giving the baby all of its love. That's really what's happening. Yeah. So this happens for about 2 days. And so, if somebody's, no, that's too specific. You want to let the baby have his own placenta. And he will kick it off at about 3.5 days. Okay. If everybody pays attention to drying the belly button. Okay. Most important part to dry with rosemary is all around the belly button and the first 4 inches of the cord. Okay. Because that's what's going to dry up and fall off, and that's also what is covered up by the covers. So you have to really pay attention to putting covers up here and putting covers there, but kind of letting the belly button be able to air dry. And so then after the baby receives that pulsing, it's like it replicates the mom's heartbeat. It's just like his best friend. Once I made a placenta that was the size of importance that it would be to an adult, it was to a child, to the baby. And it was that big. It's wow, 4 feet wide, and it has a cord that is this big. So that thing wrapped around the neck is just like a muffler, a warm, pulsing, right? I see scarf around the neck. It's right, not right. It's very different when you see how it would be to you. True.
That's
Yeah.
such a good point.
The placenta is a friend and the cord is a friend. It's what the baby held, you know.
Mm. Yeah, true.
So it's not, it needs to be respected. It
Mm.
needs to be honored for everything that it's done. It does everything for the baby.
Yeah,
It breathes, it eliminates, it purifies, it does it all.
yeah,
So this is such an amazing part of birth. Don't rush it.
yep, yep.
Everything is the same. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Don't rush
Yeah.
conception. Don't rush birth. Don't rush.
Yeah.
Don't rush. Cutting the cord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about placenta encapsulation then? I mean, is there any way to do like a partial? Well, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. I know you're obviously a fan of Lotus birth, so I'm making an assumption that maybe you're not a fan of placenta encapsulation, but
I used to be. I've
okay,
gone through all iterations of it.
okay.
And what I have come to is that the placenta was created for the baby.
Mm,
And when you let it have its last pulsations, and when you honor it and bury it, it has done its work.
mm,
Given everything to the baby, and
mm,
you have a healthy, beautiful baby because of it.
mm.
So to interrupt that flow and cut it too soon, or take a slice of it, or
Yeah.
all of that is less interesting to me now. I think the best thing, and you have to think about this too, is to do a tincture, because
Yeah.
after it's kicked off by the baby,
Uh-huh.
3.5 days, when it gets very dry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you can take it and dry it further in the oven.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could make a tincture out of it, but maybe because I was in Hawaii, but also I've tried it other places, and unless you're in very dry area, um, it doesn't dry right after you encapsulate it. Everything mildews, and I've dried it, I've frozen it, I've put it in freeze dried things and Ziploc bags in the freezer, and still it mildewed.
Okay. Yep.
I know some people can do it, but at the same time, my interest is that the baby gets the stem cells and the baby gets the energetic pulsing, and then the placenta gets honored under a tree,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
once saw a placenta tree in New Zealand, and the whole clan would bury their placentas under this one tree.
wow.
Ancient. It was probably 4 people around holding hands, and huge and beautiful. And this was the whole clan. This was everybody that was in their tribe, their clan, their name, their cousins, their everybody. And it was a remarkable place to go and just sit.
Mm.
It held so much mana.
Yeah, I can imagine. I got chills hearing that story.
So
Wow.
think what we could do, a little thought.
Mm-hmm, exactly. In
Yeah.
Bali, they say wherever your placenta is planted, it's always going to be your home.
Yeah.
That's a little thing that they have.
Yeah.
My daughter's placenta is planted in Sweden with a tree, and she definitely has a really strong connection to that land. I mean, she always wants to go back to that land, so might
Yeah.
be something there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have one little small question for you that I'm asking everyone, but before we get to that, I'd love if you could share how people can find your book and about your next book that will be out by the time this interview is launched, I believe.
Yeah. Sacredbirthing.com is my website, or Sacred Birthing with Sunni Karll is the Facebook page. It is the Sacred Birthing series, and this is the second one
Oh,
in a month.
I can't wait to read that.
Receiving Souls of Magnificence. So that has been quite a journey too. Each book has their own path, their own life to
like
it.
a baby, right?
That's definitely right.
Its
Yeah.
own conception and its own birth, and you got to let go of control, right?
So it'll be out by Christmas. That's my wish.
Fabulous. I'm so excited to read that. And I just want to say to everybody watching, the way in which you write for me is so channeled. It's so exquisite. It's just coming from such a deep, deep and high, high place that the words, for me, it's really like receiving a transmission through the words, not just reading information and taking in knowledge, but really receiving a transmission. So,
Thank you.
I highly encourage everyone to check out your writing.
Yeah. I think that's also because the circle of wholeness is with everybody who reads the book. Everybody who reads it and really takes it on as, okay, this feels right. Those beings are with you, and all you have to do is ask. They're there to help your baby. They're there to help your husband. They're there to help you. Take time to do those sessions, because it's the help that we used to have. In the times of Lemuria, this was normal.
Right. Exactly.
We didn't have to call in separate beings, but because we're so separated now, we call in these separate beings, which is fine, because here they are, and they're so willing to aid in whatever we need. So it's a beautiful way to get back into the natural flow of birth and conception and pregnancy, instead of feeling like we have to do what we're told.
Right.
And we have to go a medical route. It's not true.
Right.
Stand in your power, and yet birth creates your power.
Yes.
You have to. There's so much to say.
I know. That's the problem with all these interviews. I'm like, can we have another few days together?
I love it too. Thank you, Nancy.
Well, before we say goodbye, I'm asking everyone this one question. So if you could sum up one piece of advice that you could tell yourself now that you have all of this wisdom and experience before you had your first baby, what would that be?
Right.
Just one little simple thing.
Well, unfortunately, our first baby is often like our sacrificial lamb. We don't know what we don't know, so we don't get empowered and say, no, this feels right, this does not feel right, this feels right, this does not. So what would I do? I would say, absolutely choose not to have an epidural, and be strong and be brave, and know that you're doing it for your baby's highest, and be open to being led every step of the way. Because if you're in your power and doing this, you're devoted to the highest for your baby, then you are going to be led. You will be led. And even though you're scared right now, this process is taking you on your own made-to-order pathway that will empower you. You'll look back after birth and go, wow, I didn't think I could do it, but I did it. So that would be, we have to stop ignoring epidurals, and we have to start realizing that, no, it's not okay for my baby. And really take charge. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us today and sharing all of your beautiful wisdom. I really, really greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope it came out of my mouth all right.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Good.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thanks
Nancy.
again. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.